Hey, this is Notser, and today we're talking about a new Dockyard event that Wargaming has detailed. I'm going to discuss the ships, my overall thoughts on it, and briefly compare it to the Puerto Rico Dockyard event because we all have a very fresh memory of that. The Dockyard event, for layman's, it's just a way to progress, build a ship in-game that you can watch build in real time. They can launch it. You can see sort of the initial stages of armament retrofitting to the ship itself. It's a pretty cool visual progression that is honestly unique to ships, and it's one that I enjoyed with the Puerto Rico, at least visually. I always thought the Dockyard fit so well with the game, it makes too much sense not to leverage this technology and use it for other events, and sure enough they are. So 9596, clearly German-focused content. Super excited for that. Obviously, Admiral Graf Spee, been in the game for years now. We know this ship. It's a 238. It's 6-gun, 238 sort of cruiser that has battleship guns at tier 6. And then the Odin is a tier 8 battleship with GK secondary guns and 305 millimeter guns, which are the exact guns that you're seeing in this game. So it's a very different reward path than the Puerto Rico, which was a tier 10 American heavy cruiser. But you spend the same amount of money up front if you want to whale through it. 35,000 doubloons, which is a lot of money. So the issue with the first Dockyard in Puerto Rico was obviously it was too grindy. You could never actually unlock it for free. Basically, I think there was 2 people who unlocked it. Technically, 2. Yeah, whatever. You basically could never unlock it for free. And Wargaming made the grind, insane. A massive amount of time required in-game to barely not unlock and still have to spend real money. So it had a really bad taste in everyone's mouth. Yeah. Whereas there's other events that they've done in the past, the Cossack, where it felt a lot fairer. Sort of this splitting of work. If you want to spend all your real life money and avoid actually playing the game and grinding it out, you can do that. That's an option. That was an option with Cossack, that's an option with Puerto Rico, and that is absolutely going to be an option with Admiral Graf Spee and the Odin in this. You can spend 35,000 up front and do nothing. Or you can try and unlock various Dockyard stages, and that will lower the cost each and every time. This is one nice little change that they've done since the Puerto Rico. Because what happened in the Puerto Rico is, you had similar 20 stages that you needed to unlock, but only at certain stages did you get a doubloon cost reduction. And it wasn't one-to-one with the number of stages that you unlocked. So you could find yourself wasting a lot of time getting no benefit. Whereas with this Dockyard system, it sounds like the implementation is much more, as much progression as you can do, and then whatever the progression that you've done, that will cut the total cost of doubloon investment if you want to go ahead and buy the Odin. And you will need to spend money if you want the Odin. That is a guarantee. There's none of this, you play 400 hours and you might get it. No. Even if you play 10,000 hours, you cannot unlock the Odin for free. So that might be disappointing to the 2 people who could unlock the Puerto Rico back in the day. But for most of us, lowering the overall directive requirements in order to allow for more progressed and more fair design for the Dockyard is a welcome change. This should allow players to feel like every single point of progression matters for them, whether it is lowering the cost of doubloons or just allowing you to have the cheapest cost overall when trying to obtain it. I love that. I think that's how every single system should work. That's how free XP works. That's how this Dockyard seemingly is going to work. I think it's the best way to go forward. Always giving a player a way for them to sort of progress in parallel. A little bit of playing the game and a little bit of the real-life money is, I think, an appropriate compromise for everyone. And as long as it scales uniformly and perfectly, I can't see any complaints. You know, yeah, 35,000 up front. That's a ridiculous amount of money. But if you are progressing through the directives, and you can get 18 of the 20 dockyard stages progressed just by playing, that's a lot of money that you cut off the cost of a Tier 8 battleship. Now, we can all talk about how we feel about the Odin and the balance and the design, but overall, I've always liked this sort of, choose your own path. It worked really well with the Cossack. Now, I will say the Cossack, you could get it for $1. This is not $1. They're not giving you a Tier 8 for $1, okay? I think that Wargaming probably regrets giving the Cossack for $1 to players who progressed it. And, obviously as a player who got it for $1, I kind of like that. But I understand. I understand where it's like, yeah, okay, we did all this and we probably broke even. Whereas with the Puerto Rico, through all the bad press, it probably was somewhat successful, but it wasn't fair. This dockyard design feels a lot fairer. So there's going to be 7 stages of directives that will unlock each week, starting with 9.5's release and going all the way through 9.6 and leading up to 9.7. So you have 2 patches to unlock all of the necessary directives in order to get the dockyard progression unlocked. Now, since they've changed it to sort of like levels of dockyard rather than a resource that is always generating, they're not going to have sort of an animation associated with that. So hopefully the animation is just, constantly building up the ship, and each level of dockyard progression maybe gives you more resources so you can build it up further. Either way, that's going to work out just fine. So let's talk about actual examples of levels of dockyard, and let's gauge for ourselves on whether it's fair or not fair. So Directive 1, 18 destroyed ribbons. You can accomplish this in random, ranked, or co-op, and it can be accomplished from Tier 5 to Tier 10, which seems great. Very easily you could get 18 destroyed ribbons in co-op. Not a problem at all. Another great example, in the same Directive 1, you need to earn 30,000 base XP. This can be accomplished in random, ranked, co-op, clan, scenario, and it includes tiers 5 through 10. So, over any number of battle. So, at least with the first one, those seem pretty reasonable. Each level of dockyard is a reward in itself. It could be coal, it could be premium time, it could even be like the Graf Spee itself. I have heard if you have the Graf Spee, you will only get its credit value and not its doubloon value, which of course is disappointing to people who want to leverage that, but is understandable considering it probably would have been for the value of the ship, and that would have covered the Odin's cost if you were to do it completely by the book, unlock 18 of the 20 in-game, and then spin the last couple doubloons. You could easily have covered that if they would have switched it to doubloons, but credits will do fine. I'm sure most of you guys, you need credits too, and yeah, I get it. They want you to spend real money if you want to invest in a ship like a Tier 8 Premium. That's fine. Let's talk about some of the directive examples and just give my thoughts overall. So, best example, this will reward 1 level of dockyard. It requires that you play in random rank co-op, involves tiers 5 through 10, and over any number of battles, you must earn 18 destroyed ribbons. Killing 18 ships is not that hard, especially when you can include co-op. That's going to make it very easy for a lot of people to rush through that, and that is a much, much easier directive objective compared to the Puerto Rico. Now, that's attached to Directive 1. Let's look at the worst case scenario. We're going all the way down to the hardest. So 18 destroyed ribbons for the first directive. For the last directive, I believe it's 6 or 7, you have about 2 or 3 weeks before the next patch pushes through the event. So imagine 9.6, it's 2 patches, it's 2 weeks after the patch. You've progressed through to Directive 6, and you're trying to work through the objectives of Directive 6 in order to unlock the dockyard. You would need 55 destroyed ribbons It does limit the tiers to 7 through 10 instead of 5 through 10, but it still includes even 7, which is way better than some of the directive objectives in the past. They've basically included only tier 10s. So having 4 tiers as a potential, still involving co-op in it, is wonderful. That means that these should very easily be obtainable for players who actually care about it. And you get all those resources, you know, coal, premium time, free XP, all of that, signal flags on top of it. So, you know, overall, for me, my impression, really appreciate that they're not lying to us about the Odin being free. The Puerto Rico never was, so why would the Odin be free? And if you invest that kind of time, it ceases to be free, right? That's not a free object. I like that. I also really appreciate that the Dockyard progression scales 1-to-1 with doubloon investment. Each Dockyard level costs 1,750 doubloons, which is roughly $7 US. So this works very much like the Cossack. Scaling your investment, whether it be in-game progression or real life, is a very clean solution that games could always leverage. So I'm happy that they're doing it here. They also have unique camo for the Odin and the Admiral Graf Spee in the form of sort of first launch German celebration. Overall, though, I'm excited for this. I thought that visually the Dockyard was stunning. It just had bad backend. I think that this version, 9.5 and 9.6, seems to be a promising direction to head, and I'm excited for the future. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to check out more of my content, you can click the most recent or the most relevant uploads. You could also choose to subscribe to my channel. We do daily World War videos. First impression, how-to, news, and review related. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. You can take advantage of that. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.